Here we have take 2 of my hammock setup. First time I went through, I didn't record any audio, just kind of showed everything. So this time I'm gonna just kind of talk about what I've got here. Here I have my SOG Seraphim 35 liter pack. I really like this thing, it's pretty useful. It's got some quick disconnects here and the buckles. So on this part of the pack you can hang, it's designed for firearms, which I will probably end up using it for in the future, but for this time I just brought my my log splitter, my splitting axe or whatever. So that's useful, you can just hang stuff on there. Come on. Trying to buckle this here with one hand is kind of difficult. Alright, there we go. And then down here it's got these little cables that come through here, and you can put a like a tomahawk or something in there, and then use this bungee here like so to hold it tight in the top. I ended up bringing a full-size chopping axe, so I had a splitting axe and a chopping axe. Put the splitting axe on the inside and the chopping axe on the outside. Plus it's got an integrated back frame. It's got a little safety whistle built into the chest strap. Got a nice waist strap. A molded hard top to keep your delicates from getting crushed. So I put my sunglasses and things like my phone in there. And then inside I have a dry bag, since this was a canoe trip. In case we took a dunk, I didn't want all my stuff to get wet, so I have that. Here I have my hammock system. Currently I have my Black Mamba, my war bonnet Black Mamba top quilt hanging out to dry, because last night it got really cold and I got condensation all over the top of it, because I didn't do anything about my breath coming out and getting condensation on that. So, and if you know anything about down, water is down's worst enemy. And then here, I guess I'll just show it at a distance. I have my War Bonnet Superfly tarp, and here's what I have to string it up. I have a continuous ridge line all the way across, and at first I didn't have the continuous. I just hooked it straight to this little ring here and went on either side. But I have since decided to change it, and I like this setup a lot better. Here's my Hennessy snake skins. These things are super awesome for setting it up in the wind, setting it up in the rain or whatever. It keeps everything dry. It's a lot easier to get it all packed up and set up. And basically what you would do is, once you pull out your stakes and get everything so it's just hanging, you just slide your snake skin right over top of it, and it all rolls up into a long, thin, basically like a snake, and then it's a lot easier to pack. And it adds a little extra weight, but I'm more concerned with comfort at a campsite than saving every possible ounce, because I'm not planning on doing a lot of distance backpacking, so I'd rather carry a couple extra ounces for weight. Granted, most of the stuff is still pretty lightweight, but anyway. So here I have my carabiner for my hammock, and I like to hang my bag from that, at least during the day. I used to hang it on the whoopee slings right here at night inside the tarp, but I stopped doing that after I realized that this beaner that I have here was kind of starting to fray the whoopee sling. So maybe if I get one that's got rounded beveled edges like this, I might do that again, but for now I just put it on a chair on the inside. I've got a tiny little Trek Ultra, and that works out pretty well. So for my tarp ridge line, let's see if you can see this here, I have, there we are, I have a Blake's hitch. I love that knot. It's a friction knot, so I can tighten it up or loosen it as needed, and it holds pretty well. It's really super handy because you can tie one end tight, or rather tie it at basically the end of the line, and then tighten it as necessary. Focus. There we go. And then here I have a little tensioner system that I made up. I basically have 2 prusiks, one on each side. Prusik, whatever you want to call it. Come on, focus here. So I have 2 of those, and because these are friction hitches, these can slide up and down. And then I have some 550 cord, and I think I used, I don't remember what knot this was, but anyway, I took, or not 550 cord, shot cord. I have some shot cord here, and so that allows me to move this. Here you can move it, and I'll show you that I have the ability to tighten this up. And so essentially what will happen is if I pull this tight, it pulls that shot cord, and then if this stretches, if this cord that I use for hanging my tarp, which is, it's paracord, but I think it's 295 or maybe 225. It's basically the same thing as 550 cord, except it doesn't have as many strands on the inside. So 550 cord is rated for 550 pounds. This stuff is rated for like 250 pounds or whatever it is. I don't remember exactly what it is, but I chose it because it's a little lighter, and this is holding my tarp, so I don't need a whole lot of weight on it. And then you just pull these prusiks to tighten up the shot cord, and then if this, we'll just call it 225 cord. If this 225 cord, you know, anywhere along the ridge line were to stretch and get, you know, and get some slack in it, this shot cord would take that up and keep it taut. So I've got that on both ends. And then coming down here, I'll get my top quill out of the way. I have my tarp connected with a prusik as well. So if I want to, which is really nice, because I can string up my ridge line wherever I want to, and then adjust my tarp as needed. So the tarp doesn't even have to be centered. I don't have to worry about trying to get the appropriate amount of cord on either end of the tarp. I can just, as long as the cord goes between the 2 trees, I can slide my tarp wherever, tighten it up as much as needed. So I really like that. And then somewhere under here, I haven't really worried about it too much because it hasn't been wet this trip, but I've got another prusik if I can find it. There it is. Another prusik under here that I keep like right there. And that is so when it rains, obviously your line is going to collect water, and it's going to come down, and if you don't have something like this right here, it's going to drip right down this prusik into the inside of the tarp, and that will make a mess. So I have this here, so when the water hits it, focus there, the water hits it, it will drain down this line, and the majority of it will stay out of my tarp. Same with my whoopee for my hammock. I have one. You can't really see it. It's right. Nah, get the camera focused. It's right there on the inside. Right now, it's all covered up again because it's not raining and it's not supposed to rain. So that will keep the end of my hammock from getting soaked. So that's that. I have my 2 doors pulled out right now, and have them secured to these pullouts here with what I think it's a half hitch. I don't remember what it's called, but you basically loop it over and then pull a bight through. So that way, whenever you want to release it, you just pull it out and they're good to go. See down here, I have my door stakes. These are MSR. I don't remember what the stake is called, but it's an MSR stake. I really like these. They have this design where each of the different blades of the stake is curved. That gives a lot of extra strength. I originally got some of the stakes with the war bonnet stakes with my hammock, and I've already bent like 2 or 3 of those, and I've only used this hammock 3 times. So I definitely like these MSR stakes a lot better. Excuse me. Down here in the corner, again, I have shot cord rigged up. Essentially, what I did is I looped it through here. Excuse me. My throat's getting dry here. I looped it through here along with this really thin, what is that called? I don't remember what this cord is called, unfortunately, but it's much thinner than that 225 cord that I was using for my ridgeline for my tarp. And then I have it tied up. I have the shock cord tied to this cord with a clover hitch down here. So that again will take up any slack if the if the wind were to blow it or if it were to shift or something like that. It would keep that taut. And down here I have worrying about that, I accidentally hit the power button on my phone and stopped recording. So here I just go around twice. I come around the right side or left side, either way you come around, and then with my second pass I make sure that it goes over top of this wire or this string that's on tension, that has tension on it, and that will pull up and that will pull the cord. The tension will pull the cord into this little blade right here, and that alone is almost enough to hold it. And then I just come around it with a half hitch, so that's really easy. When I want to release these, you just pull here, take this loop out, and unwind it. So I've got that there. That's what I use for all four corners, as well as for all four doors. Here I've got my pullouts, just going around a tree. Just gives me a little extra headroom. Not that there's a whole lot to begin with, but every little bit helps when I'm inside. Here's the hammock pullout, and I will show you what this is doing when we get inside. But I have my hammock lines here. I have a shock cord with a little, I don't even know what that's called. You kind of push the button and move it around as needed. I'll tighten that back up real quick, if I can with one hand. And then it's just got a loop on the end going around a stake. I think I might replace two of the I might replace two of the cords on my doors with this, just because it's much easier to get on and off really quickly. And I basically set it up so that I use two of the doors and the other two I don't. So like here on the other side, I've got these doors staked down, and I just leave them that way. I have not done what lots of people like to call porch mode, where you basically use like hiking or trekking poles or something like that, or a stick to set it up so one side of the tarp is parallel with the ground, and then then you can just kind of sit in your hammock and look out the one side. I just haven't bothered to do that yet. Most of the time I spend over there by the campsite with the guys or whatever, so I don't spend a whole lot of time in my hammock unless I'm sleeping, so I haven't bothered with that. Over here we have basically just the same setup that I have on the other side. The little prusik for the rain, prusik for the tarp. Another little tensioner over here. Another Blake's hitch. I really like that knot. Another snake skin. And then for my hammock, I have some nylon straps that came with it. Excuse me. Some carabiners that I got off Amazon. They're fairly lightweight. There we go. They're 23 KN. I don't remember what that means. Some designation of their ability to hold weight. These are. You could use these for climbing. I probably wouldn't recommend it. I'd get some real sturdy carabiners for climbing. But because I've got two of these, basically holding just my weight when I'm laying in it, like 6 inches, 12 inches off the ground, I'm not real concerned. I think they'll hold up, and I didn't want something that was very heavy. These guys are super light. They feel like they're some sort of, I don't know, maybe even carbon fiber or something. They're just in terms of weight, I don't think that's what they're actually made out of. It's probably aluminum, but they're really light, so that was all I was looking for. Same setup on the pullouts, or on on the corners of the tarp and the pullouts over here. So we'll just head inside now. Here we've got my War Bonnet Blackbird XLC on the bottom, of course off to the side right now, but obviously that would be around the bottom when I'm sleeping. I have a War Bonnet 3/4 length underquilt. It's the Yeti. This is the 3-season. That keeps me pretty warm. And then for my feet, I have a Thermarest pad here. And I put that up in my foot box. And I actually stuffed that inside of my my overquilt, or my top quilt. And that foot box basically keeps my feet warm on the bottom, because when you lay on down and you compress it, it doesn't do anything for you. And since I've got the 3/4 length Yeti underquilt, that doesn't reach to my feet either. So I've got to have something to keep my feet warm, and that does the trick pretty well. I really like the Blackbird XLC because it's got an asymmetric cut. So you've got a little foot box over here. You've got a little bit of extra room over here for the head, so you can kind of lay, excuse me, lay across the hammock, and that gives you a much flatter lay. Here is my Philo Nemo pillow. It's a hybrid. It's got some really nice foam on the top, and then it's got a valve here that you can inflate it with air. So if you want, if you're a side sleeper, it might still be kind of small, even fully inflated for a side sleeper, but you can't really do that well in a hammock anyway. But you can inflate it and deflate it as necessary. It's got an integrated stuff sack over here that you can just fold the whole thing into, and it's about the size of a pop can. So it folds down pretty small, maybe a little bigger than that, but super comfortable. I really like that. And then over here on the War Bonnet, you've got a little shelf that I can put all my stuff in. So here I got my pants that I sleep in. I've got some Under Armour base layers that I have that I can just keep there. They don't need to start out in, but if I get cold, I can just grab them right out of there and throw them on. It's got the integrated bug net right now. I have opened up. I will close that because I got stung earlier because I had a bee in it, even though it's probably November 10th, I think it is. I don't remember. I'm out in the sticks, don't really care. But anyway, it's in November, and it's been like 30s at night, so I have no idea where this bee came from. But it got in there and stung me twice on the leg, which was kind of a pain. But anyway, here's so that line that I was showing you earlier. That connects up to the shelf, and that pulls it out so it's not sitting right on top of you. So that's what that shock cord was for. And then I have one on the other side. I'll pull this over. Basically the same thing here. And then this just pulls out the side a little bit to give me some extra space. Obviously when that's zipped up, that will pull the hammock with it. So it kind of opens it up a little bit for a nice comfortable night. And that's my setup. So if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them, and I will answer the best I can. And I guess that's it. Alright, have a great day.